How Balogun has become Ligue 1 top scorer under Will Still at Stade Reims. We're going to be diving into all the statistics, tactics, and have a look at a little bit of his movement in behind the defence and his finishing off both feet. Balogun is a player that Arsenal have sent out on loan to Ligue 1 to develop, and quite frankly, it is working supremely well. Stade Reims either set up in a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, but from an interesting perspective, the system is quite similar to Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. In that sense, as the holding midfielder drops into a single number 6 position, the 8 moves into number 10 and they create this 4-1-4-1 shape in possession. But quite interestingly, Will Still's Stade Reims are quite fluid in their setup. Not only do they play this 4-1-4-1 in possession, but actually they've also got a 3-4-2-1 as well, with Matu Siwa dropping in between the centre-backs as a half-back, the full-backs being pushed forward as wing-backs, and Reims creating this kind of U-shape in midfield that really allows them to dominate the ball and arguably have 7 players in between the opponent's line. I think one of the big reasons why Balogun has been so successful in Ligue is because his job is mainly to be that centre forward. With the rest of his teammates that are creating, that are getting between the lines to rotate the ball, he very much is a last line striker, making runs into the channel, in behind, and darts in the penalty area. That's not to say that he's got a very good first touch off both feet and can receive the ball into feet, but his main job for Balogun is spinning in behind, similar to how Eddie Nketiah plays for Arteta's Arsenal. Of course, Gabriel Jesus is more of a false 9 and Nketiah more of that advanced forward. So taking a look at Stade Reims from a tactical perspective, as we mentioned, a 4-2-3-1 defensive shape. They look to put pressure on the ball high up the pitch with Balogun, and then they drop into their 3-2-4 band. They're a bit of a mid-block. They will press high, but what this allows them to do is win the ball back and transition quickly, getting the best out of Balogun's pace, winning the ball and allowing him to spin in behind. The two shapes that Will Still adopts in the attacking structure, the 4-1-4-1 we had a look at before, defensive midfielder sitting in, very similar to Mikel Arteta's Arsenal, and of course that 3-4-2-1 or even a 3-6-1 we could look at, the two wing backs high up the pitch, the two midfielders pushing behind the opposition's forward line, two inside inside players on a more of a support position, and a back three created by the defensive midfielder dropping into that centre back position. But again, it allows Balogun to play as that number 9, not having to get on the ball in too many situations and focusing on getting shots away, moving into the channels and creating opportunities for himself and his teammates. So let's take a look at Balogun in terms of the stats and the numbers that he's put up this season. One of the big things with Balogun, he is top scorer of Ligue 1 right now. He scored more goals than Messi, more goals than Neymar, more goals than Kylian Mbappe and Jonathan David. But in terms of the impressive parts of his game, what I really like is the expected goal number is very, very good. He scored 15 goals in Ligue 1 and his expected goals at 14.46. He's averaging around 3 shots per game, with half of those being on target. A very, very good finisher off both his left foot and his right foot. If you take a look at those shots, in fact, 55% of those shots come with his right foot, 45% with his left foot, which is really impressive numbers, showing the duality of his ability to spin one way and get a shot off, but also finish with a volley or a side foot with his weaker left foot. So in terms of Will Still's Stade Reims, they've done pretty well this season, sitting 10th in the league with a very, low budget is impressive. Balogun's statistics by himself, 15 goals as mentioned in Ligue, top scorer, top for expected goals as well. And in terms of his, scoring frequency, a goal every 112 minutes. In terms of his best performances of the season, they've come across a number of different games. It was absolutely fantastic when he scored a hat-trick against Lorient, played very well against Troyes, but more importantly, scored an equaliser in Paris against PSG after a very, very fine performance through the middle. In that game, Balogun had 6 shots on goal, racked up an expected goals of 1.44, and nearly won a penalty with a really good move in behind, which we'll take a look at a little bit later on. But in terms of the recent games, after the World Cup, the performances have got better and better. And as we mentioned before, the shape of Stade Reims in possession, that 4-1-4-1, very similar to Arsenal. So let's dive into a little bit more of the analysis. Let's take a look at a few of his goals, his qualities in certain areas, and the kind of variability of what he's been doing, in those positions to create those opportunities. So I mentioned his performance against Lorient, the hat-trick, the first that he's managed in professional football, his first in Ligue 1. As we mentioned previously, Reims very much setting in this 4-2-1 shape. dominating that midfield area and allowing Balogun to play on the last line. His first goal, of course, came from the penalty spot. Decent penalty, simple. You got to be putting the ball in the back of net from that position. It's going to get you more goals. But I want to take a look at his two other goals that were more impressive. His first one, coming in the 60th minute. Ito, a Japanese playmaker, more of a winger, will go on the outside or look to cross with his right foot. What I like about Balogun is he's already establishing relationships with players that he's only really played for about half a season. So in this move, Ito's got the ball wide right. We see a lot of this from Stade Reims, getting the ball wide, allowing the wingers to drive at the fullback in those 1v1 situations. He checks inside and gets his head up, and of course Balogun makes that move across the face of the defender, running on the blind side of the centre-back. I'd say one of Balogun's biggest strengths not only is his movement off the ball, but it's his ability on the volley, striking really clean inside that penalty area. Ito gets his head up, finds Balogun on that near post, grabs his second goal of the game. But more impressively is his third goal for his hat-trick. Not only is his movement absolutely superb, but the technique to score on the volley with his left foot in the penalty area is absolutely fantastic. So Reims again in that possession shape, the three centre-halves, the two defensive midfielders, the two attacking midfielders and both wing-backs staying really high and wide, creating width and sort of that depth of the attack. Balogun, one of the things that I do like as well is communication with his teammates. He's always pointing where he wants the ball. Is it into his feet? Is it into the channel? Is it ahead of him? Where does he want his teammate to find that? Of course, he's sort of motioning to drop it into the space in between the centre half and the right fullback, into that channel, spinning them in behind. What I like about Balogun, not only is he, he's in that position where he's demanding for the ball, but he creates good separation with himself and the centre back as the ball's clipped forward. And the execution on that left foot is absolutely fantastic. Finishing across the goalkeeper, nice low finish on that left foot, superb. But moving forward to his performance against PSG, not only was he super active in between the centre-backs, to the left of the centre-backs, to the right of them, making multiple moves when the ball was in the wide areas, but was a threat in behind. As you can see on the timer here, 95 minutes. Balogun coming up clutch for Stade Reims, drawing in Paris against PSG. The ball's won in midfield by Dumbia, and as soon as the ball's won, we can see Balogun motioning for that ball in behind the defence, knowing that he's got the pace to beat not only Marquinhos, but Sergio Ramos as well. As soon as the ball played, we can clearly see that ability to get in behind defences. Clean through on goal, but I love the finish. Not only is it calm and composed, but it beats the goalkeeper in a 1v1 situation, simply, dribbling past Donnarumma, one of the best keepers in the world, and finishing high into the top of the goal. This type of finishing is something that you'd expect to see of a 27-year-old, a 28-year-old, a real kind of top-level professional. And for Balogun to, have the composure in the 95th minute to grab a point for Stade Reims in Paris is super impressive. But not only that, the constant threat of him in behind was throughout the game, constantly looking to get in behind. This is a similar shape that Arsenal take up in the Premier League, the 4-1-4-1, as we mentioned before, with one of the, central midfielders, Odegaard or Granit Xhaka having the ball in between the lines. And Balogun is constantly looking for that ball in behind the defence, constantly motioning. And that's a key theme when you look at his performances in different games, in the box, outside the box. We've got the ball in a wide position right now. Balogun looking for it to be hit onto the near post. We've got more kind of, just into that final third, looking to spin in behind the defence. It's just that threat that Arsenal kind of need at certain times that Balogun is giving Stade Reims this season. He's very much not playing in between the lines. He's not receiving the ball in these deep areas and getting himself turned like a Gabriel Jesus would do. He's staying on that last line. He's allowing the midfielders around him to create and look for those through balls, and then using his pace and, of course, ability to get through. This is a really good moment for Stade Reims. In fact, this is where Verratti got sent off, put a challenge on Ito after he'd released the ball, got sent off, got VAR'd. But Balogun's slightly offside here, but he would have won a penalty for his team. Good, motion, good body balance. Lovely skill in the penalty area, chopping back inside on Marquinhos, feet swept underneath him, and unfortunately he's, just offside, doesn't win the penalty. But of course, we mentioned that threat in behind. That's a constant theme of Balogun's game, which I really like. And of course, that communication with his teammates, but also very good at receiving into feet. He's got, a good left foot, good right foot. His touch is very good on both sides. Here's a nice little bit of interplay against Lorient, of course, the game where he scored the hat-trick. Not only motioning to where he wants the ball, but being in good space, being aware of his teammates around him. And the little cheeky flick, one touch to get the ball up, another touch with a back of his heel to flick and allow Dumbia to break in behind the midfield. Top quality play from a centre forward that could have it all. So to finish things off, how would Balogun line up in the Arsenal team? So Balogun would provide something very similar to Eddie Nketiah. Of course, Gabriel Jesus is more of a false nine. And Nketiah is that kind of last line player that makes those movements in behind the defence. I think you've got to give credit to the Arsenal Academy for building two very similar centre forwards. The one thing I'd say with Eddie Nketiah is a little bit right-sided with his finishing across the goalkeeper. What I'd say about Balogun, he's got that kind of duality that not only can he finish on his right, but he can finish on his left as well, giving a little bit more of a dual threat in that final third if he is receiving into feet, being able to spin both ways. And I think, in and around that penalty area is a little bit more dangerous. The volley technique, the ability to finish off moves could be a massive benefit for Arsenal. I think going forward, Gabriel Jesus, of course, is going to be number one. That's undoubted. But Balogun coming into the side, what Arsenal could do potentially when looking to, put the pressure on the opponent or in certain Premier League games is play two number 9s. Play Odegaard deep in midfield, have Gabriel Jesus as that link man at number 10 or second striker, and Balogun playing on that last line. Not only would that allow Arsenal to, stretch the opposition because you've got the threat of the pace in behind of Balogun, but you've got Gabriel Jesus's his work rate and ability to receive and carry on the dribble and create something out of nothing. But having this, problem for Arsenal, having the three forwards isn't a massive issue. Of course, Nketiah is a top quality player. There could be other games where it's Nketiah and Balogun and maybe Jesus is played out wide. It gives Arsenal a lot of good options. I think maybe for next season, Balogun going on another loan could be really good. Maybe a loan to a Premier League side that plays progressive football, or maybe to another team in Ligue. Will still Stade Reims is a really good development for him, or moving to maybe a loan that play a very similar possession-based football could be a good stage for his development. But 15 goals in Ligue already this season is super impressive, and you could expect him just to continue to score. Everything's there from a stats perspective for him to continue this development. The hat-trick from Lorient coming from 10 shots on goal, super impressive, and the kind of the difference and the finishing is absolutely fantastic. He's a player for the future, and he's in the perfect place right now with Will Still, football manager, legend, getting the job done for a club that was expected to fight for their survival in the league, sitting in comfortable mid-table. You can only see them going up, and that'll be the best for Balogun to kind of learn his trade, as a number 9, playing week in, week out. But anyway, guys, what do you think? Should Balogun come back to Arsenal next season and start as their number 9? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe if you're new. Check out SofaScore, and we'll see you next time.